Hey everybody, Tracy Brown. It's the same car and station as yesterday. And I wanted to do the part 2 video around movement. So yesterday I talked a lot about exercise compulsion and why it's super important that we look at our relationship with exercise just like we look at it from the food perspective. So if you're working through intuitive eating and looking at good food, bad foods, or whatever it is you're doing, I talked about how yesterday it's just important to work through the reasons why you feel like that compulsion is so strong to have to move, and that you feel like you get value, not value, but you feel like you'll earn worth and your value is tangled up in your movement. So today I want to talk about the other side of the coin, because unfortunately there tends to be one, and that I've been through both sides of it, the extremes of I call it exercise hesitance. I don't like the word resistance because it sounds like that it's just something, I just don't want to do it and it's something bad. I actually see hesitance to move our bodies as a very, very powerful and important messenger that we have to honor, because then we just get back in the cycle of shame and guilt and blame and what's wrong with me, and go into this narrative like if I don't move my body that means I'm lazy, that I don't care about myself. And that's not true. You wouldn't be watching these videos. You wouldn't be pursuing, a more sane way of being with your food and your body, which is intuitive eating and a more health at every size approach. And so I want to talk a little bit about the reasons why people get in this space of can't really get themselves going. And so there's a lot of reasons. And here are some of the big ones that I see is, we've used exercise to lose weight. We use exercise to control our bodies. We've used exercise because, again, we wanted to prove other people wrong, that we weren't lazy or these other things, and we made ourselves do activities that we just didn't want to do, and we just can't push ourselves to do it anymore. Like the willpower's gone, and we're just in this exhausted, spent place. If you've ever been that kid growing up that wasn't that athletically motivated or inclined, or just never got an opportunity to try a variety of things that you might have found interesting. I know a lot of people that just lived in places that were really rural and not a lot of opportunity, or lived in places where things are super competitive and there weren't a lot of options, or lived in places where it wasn't safe to be outside that much, or there wasn't a lot of parental supervision to go outside and do pleasurable, and learn pleasurable, joyful ways of moving. Maybe some of us grew up in households where movement wasn't all that encouraged, and not like in a in the opposite of compulsive kind of way, but just didn't value it that much. So it really wasn't encouraged, hey, go outside and play and ride your bike or your scooter or collect rocks or whatever. There's a level of that, so we just never got a lot of opportunity to figure out what feels good in our bodies. If you've ever gotten bullied for the way you moved your body, or if you were constantly always picked last, or PE was your very last favorite thing to do, and because of the pressure to be good at it, or whatever, that can turn us off from wanting to be in our bodies. And these things all obviously happen at young ages, so we just have that place of wanting to avoid those old feelings is oftentimes why we just have a hard time moving. We could have moved our bodies to the point of overtraining and injury, so we just don't want to go back there again, whether it's mental, physical, or somatic. Physically, it's I can feel in my body, I don't want to feel that pain again. Even if you're rationally telling yourself that I'm not going to do that, it's okay, you might need more time, and to go a lot slower into introducing movement. And anyway, so I'll get to some of the things we can do to help ourselves in a second. But and if we've had traumas, I've had clients that once some things are kind of being worked on, that it feels not so comfortable in our bodies again, and we don't want to do it. And I just say right off the bat that you are, especially if that happens, don't move. Don't overwhelm your system with that. There are other ways to be more gentle. And the truth is that for a certain amount of time, if you're to take a break from movement, that's not going to undo much of anything. And even if it does, it's not the end of the world. Like if you have a certain fitness level and you need to take off because of injury, because you're burnt out, because you're just over it and you don't want to do anything right now, even if you lose 50% or 75% of your aerobic capacity or some strength, if that's something that's important to you as you feel more comfortable with adding movement back into your life more, and if that's truly like an intrinsic thing that's important to you and it doesn't feel diety or you're trying to change your body, then you'll get back there. It doesn't even have to be a big deal. So all those things in mind, and I think I want to add one more thing. I know a lot of people who've moved in their lives because they've been pressured to do it because of family, because of physicians, because of whomever, that they should be healthier or change their bodies. And it just feels like I can't do it right now. And so first off, I want to say the fastest way to decrease your shame about all that, for not moving, if you're feeling shame about that, is to give yourself permission not to move. Not to move until you feel like this bodily desire to want to move. And then once you start to feel that, start to very gently explore, even if it's literally 1 minute of walking, 1 minute of something outdoors, yard work, whatever it is, work your way back into a level of movement that doesn't feel like you're getting really excited and all charged up to try to move more again so you can try and change your body. And I think that just takes time. And so what does that look like for people? It can look like just what I said. It could also be that we have to really work on what are our intrinsic motivators to actually move our bodies, which could be I want to feel a sense of joy or community or some strength or learning a new skill or peacefulness or whatever. But it's not based, it's intrinsic in like a deeper place in our bodies and our hearts of what would make movement feel blank, or what activities would I need to do to feel blank. So if you're coming off a place like me, let's say of pretty hyper competitive and not just with other people but within myself, I needed to pick activities that really weren't others based. So it really wasn't that great for me to be doing there wasn't Zumba at the time when I was going this process, but group activities, individual sports that I was competing against somebody else, that wasn't good things for me to be doing. For me, what was really important, it was to just tune into the pace at which my body felt like moving. So sometimes it was a slower, meandering walk while talking on a phone to a friend, and when I was done with the phone call, I was done with the walk, or taking time to stop and look at things more. That was what was doable for me. For me, I was also very regiment based. I do 3 sets of 3 exercises and for this amount of time. And I just got to the place where it's like, if I do 1, I'm good. And if I want to leave and I did 1, or there have been times I've had equipment in my garage, I'm like, I'm going to go in the garage, I'm going to do some stuff, do some squats because my legs aren't feeling that strong. I'll do that. And I might have my mind like, okay, I used to do 3 times whatever, but I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. Sometimes that would just be 1 set, and I'd be like, I really don't want to do this, or I feel like I could do more, but it's feeling like I've got to make something happen here, or I'm going to get some kind of big result, and it's like, nope, not ready. And so you might be at that stage where you just need to take it that slow. You might be a person like, I really just want to get going with something, and being at home on my exercise bike, I feel safe, I don't feel pressure, I don't feel people looking at me, and I'm going to do 1 minute and just get in just this routine of like, this is something that I do. And that's fine too. And routines don't have to be a bad thing. If they're compulsive, not such a great thing. But if it's just trying to build a new neural pathway of, I don't mind the bike, I'm just not in the habit of doing it, and I want to do that, then sometimes it's simply starting with like, I have permission to do 30 seconds or 1 minute. And then the next week's like, I'm going to do 2 minutes. And if I want to do more, I can. But if I hit the 2 minute mark and I'm done, then I'm done. And that's fine. And it's important to reflect on what felt good about that, not just the sake of like, ooh, look at me, I'm doing 6 days in a row. It's, well, what feels good about like the frequency of this, or what feels good in my body about this. And it could be you could also be, this just feels hard. Let's congratulate yourself for going from nothing to that 1 minute and that commitment to yourself. If that's what you want to do. So this video is all about choice and all about honoring yourself. It's not about me trying to get you to move. I don't have any agenda about that. If you never move the rest of your life and I met you, that would be the least thing on my mind, is how often you move your body. It's just not up to me. It's not my business. This is just to encourage you to go at the pace that feels good to you, and where you are building this new neural pathway of, I'm moving my body for how it feels. Whether that's some days I want to push it harder, some days gentle and slow is what is the only thing that's going to feel good, and I'm happy I did that, and that actually feels good to me, that pace of gentle and slow. Then I want to encourage you that's the way to go for you then. So an example would be of how that can look is, I literally had a client who, she, her fitness level wasn't that high because she'd been avoiding movement for so long because she'd abused it, just like I had. Like, I don't want to do anything. I've been to that phase too. Like, I don't really want to do anything, but I do feel it's like mentally I don't want to do anything. Like, that exercise push and that trauma felt terrible, but physically my body feels like it wants to do something, but the idea of doing it in like an aggressive way just feels terrible. I don't want to do it. And so I had her, it's the bike riding example. Like, she had a bike. She already had one. It was covered in laundry and things like that. And she did like to listen to music. And at the time, there weren't podcasts. But I'm just giving you an older example. But so it's not to think that anybody I work with right now, I'm talking about them. But it's just, she liked actually having all her cats in her room with her, and all her fur babies, and to listen to music, and she wanted that time for herself after work, so she got on there for 1 minute, and eventually worked it up to 5, and then worked it up to 10, and I don't know that she ever really got interested in doing more than 20 minutes at a time, and that was fine. She felt really happy about that, and she was consistent most days with that of the week, not every day, but she built up so that's what felt good to her, and that helped her with functional daily living things that felt a lot better, and that's what kept building and building and building for her. For me personally, I was at a fairly compulsive place, and I kind of backed it down slowly, and then one day I was like, you know what, I don't think I want to be doing any of these things I want to do that I'm doing and I've been doing for a lot of years, so I just stopped everything. And the only thing I did is walk, because I liked walking. I never gave myself permission to walk and enjoy it without guilt. And so that's what I started with. It's like, I'm just going to walk the dog, walk at the park, walk and talk to squirrels, look at the flowers. And that's what I did for probably a year. That's all that felt good to me. And that's all I wanted to do, because I'd spent the majority of my life up to that point it being push, push, push. So, and I've had many iterations of that. Sometimes I'll lift again or do yoga and walking or jogging. And it meanders in and out depending on just kind of where I'm at, what I want to be doing. Sometimes some sports, most of the time at this point now, it's like playing a little bit of sports with my kid and walking and all that. So that feels fine now. It might get to the place where I want to build strength more in the future, and I will figure out a way to do that in a way that's like not about the end result so much, but more about the week to week. Like, how's this feeling to me, and do I want to do differently or more or less or whatever? So I want to encourage you that can be your process as well. But I do encourage you that if you're feeling like you're getting a big bang or charge, when I say bang and charge, it's like, ooh, getting revved up to like I want to do more and more and more, and I gotta all that, I would slow it down for sure, because that's a sign that you're not quite done with that whole thing of wanting exercise to do something more than it can do for you, which is permanently keep you away from your emotions, and also sorry about all the ums, but really give you a sense of worth. They really can't fully do that at the level at which intrinsically you're wanting to do for you. So I hope this video was helpful. Of course, you all know that I'm never going to encourage people to exercise to deal with weight gain from intuitive eating in any sort of way, or recovering in some way. It's just going to keep you in this vicious cycle of switching between restricting, binging, purging, over-exercise, under-exercise. And we want to use movement for what it's designed for, which is to help us feel more alive and vital in our bodies. And I don't even like the word exercise, as you all know, but movement in its most enjoyable way as we possibly can get, because that's our birthright as well. Our bodies do want to move, and if you don't believe that, look at children and babies. They can't help it that want to move around and wiggle and ride their bikes and feel free and all the things that kids do, and run around and run from each other for no reason, just other than they feel a burst of desire to do that. So that's what we're trying to get as close to that as we can. And so if you're doing activities that just don't feel good, whether gym-based or sports-based that you don't like, I encourage you to try something that's not traditional, like kickball and hula hooping, of course, gardening. Anything that's daily living things is counted. So as much as the diet mentality doesn't want you to buy into that, it's true. Your body doesn't know the difference between you shoveling loads of mulch around or some kind of gym routine. So again, I encourage you. Now, I know some of you are like, well, I have these injuries or I have these things and I need to rehab it. Yeah, that may be possible or true that you want to do that because you want greater mobility and strength and all those kind of things. And so I'm not saying that all that doesn't feel good. We're just trying to keep in mind the big picture purpose of that, which is to have more mobility and strength and to feel functional. So that doesn't always feel good. And I encourage you to work with your practitioner around, where's that edge? And if you're struggling mentally and emotionally with some of those things, talk about that with your practitioner. So I hope this was helpful to you. For those of you who are struggling with getting back going again, the thing is always honoring where you're at and going at the pace that you can do. And if you need to not do some things, pushing yourself to do it when you're not ready is not going to get you there faster. It's doing it at the pace that your system can tolerate. I think that's it for now. Thank you all for joining me. I so appreciate the live views and on the replay. If anybody has any questions at any time, please tag me in the comments below and I'll answer specific questions as best I can. And if you want other topics covered, I'll do that too. And I am going to work really hard next video not to say so much. I don't always do that. So today I did, and I apologize. So anyway, thank you so much. Everybody take care. Bye.